Okay, what a fucking night, man. Some
Fun
crazy
night.
shit. Bruh. Shout out to St. John's and Rick Pitino just completely lying about his players, first and foremost.
I know,
Just
right?
basically telling us that so-and-so is not going to play, only for them to play. And, you know, I fucking love that guy, bro. He
He
can do
ain't
no
called Slick.
wrong.
He ain't called Slick Rick for nothing.
Man, this motherfucker's slicker than a whole puddle of oil, bruh.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. I was watching
Oh,
some
yeah.
of them games last night were wildly entertaining, bruh.
They were. I
Wildly
also,
entertaining.
yep. And the thing about Patino is when he feeds you bullshit like that, like it's just so like it's just like
You believe
smiling
him.
and
You
just like
fucking believe him.
just like right to your face. It's just like, nah, he's probably not going to play, and then he's out there dropping 20.
Right.
I love the guy.
Lord Jesus.
Shot bounce left for Maryland. They got to go. Gillespie for three. Call or no. Holloman looks the clock. Half court for the win. Oh! Oh, my goodness. Holloman from half court to win it on the road.
I don't know about y'all, but this Tom Izzo shit is nothing fucking new.
Man.
I don't know about y'all, but this Tom Izzo figuring out a way is nothing fucking new, man. I'm
crazy game, man.
The
Crazy
man,
game,
bro. He's just the man.
Yeah,
he's just the man. There's nothing else to it, you know. Hostile environment on the road, no sweat. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make it happen. That's what he does. Just what he does, and it's fucking phenomenal to watch, man. Phenomenal to watch. I can't lie.
And the thing I like most about this Sparty team is really, I mean, they say it themselves. You know, they have 10 starters, and what they mean by that is they don't care which of they play 10 guys. They switch starting lineups frequently, with the exception of a few. They don't care who starts. They don't care who gets the minutes. It's just 10 guys that work in rotation with each other. And what it allows Izzo to do is mix and match as many combos as he wants based on the matchup. So you got a 3-point shooting team, he's got a lineup for that, or he's got a rotation for that. You got a big team, he's got a matchup for that. You got a team that plays zone, it's just so on and so forth. And so when you combine all of that with a guy like Izzo who can coach that, man, I mean, he's Mr. March anyway, but this is a dangerous team. This is a dangerous team.
No, I said that too. I think they're a dangerous team, but I think that part of it is just like, you just believe it, man. You just believe in the guy. And it also comes at such an odd time because Magic Johnson just basically said, you know, I'll put anything that's required into trying to get this team a championship before I go. And I'm not gonna lie, they got a chance. This is classic. This is classic Izzo. Give your team a chance and have an opportunity there at the end of the season. I mean, he's the man, bro. Undeniable.
He is. He really is.
Undeniable.
He really is.
We obviously won some bets yesterday. Shout out to St. John's and
every single one of them.
Rick, right? We won some bets. Full sweep on the show. That's 4-0 or 3-0 on the day. Nice little win. Saw some people tag us winning some tickets. But it's always fun to know that, to trust your reads and to be able to lock them in. We had a phenomenal day yesterday. That's only going to continue to get better. Other than that, I'm just excited, man. I'm ready to get into some more money. Yeah. You already know what it's hitting for. Yeah. I got something that I don't have in the banners, but I'm gonna add it to the banners by the time we get into it. As far as last night, anybody do anything crazy from a bracketology standpoint?
Yep. So I got a few updates. So first and foremost is on the good side. The Hogs took care of business. Shout out to Mike if he's listening. His Hogs took care of business, got the overtime dub against Texas. That as long as they don't piss down their leg against South Carolina and have any real stumbles against Vandy and Mississippi State, which the way they're playing now, I would expect that they don't. That's probably enough to get them into at least the first four. And if they can win out and even get at least one win in the SEC tournament, then Cal might have gotten this team off of that first four and actually into a bye, because coming into last night, Texas was one of the teams, the team they beat was one of the teams that had one of the last four byes. That's going to change now. Granted, talked about this yesterday. Texas doesn't have any really bad losses. All of their losses are to quad one teams, with the exception of South Carolina. So, but when you follow up the South Carolina 15-point loss, and then, yes, it was overtime, and yes, they had chances to win, but the bottom line is, on the scorecard, it still goes down as an L. The Horns have lost 5 of their last 6. They have Georgia, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma. They're probably in a position right now where to realistically kind of stay in contention. They for sure need to beat Georgia. If they lose to Georgia, they're already probably moving down to a last 4 in instead of a last 4 byes. If they lose to Georgia, they're probably looking at being like bubble. So the Horns need to win in the worst way. They probably need to win 2 of their last 3 to feel comfortable about getting in the tournament. Ohio State took care of business last night. They are not going to move a whole lot. Beating USC on the road is nice, but it's a quad 1 win. It's not going to move the needle a whole lot. Oklahoma, talked about it yesterday. Yes, they have no bad losses, but they still have many losses. They had another one last night. They had a shot to beat Kentucky. They had many shots to beat Kentucky. In fact, really fun game, really high scoring, fun game. Had many chances to win this game, including I think they had a 5-point lead in the second half at one point, but Kentucky was too much. This one is probably, I don't know if it's going to drop Oklahoma out of the tournament yet, because of another team that I'm going to talk about in just a moment, who actually did piss down their leg. But remaining schedule: Ole Miss, Mizzou, Texas. They got to get 1 for sure. Getting 2 would make me feel a little more comfortable, because then if you don't, now you're talking about having to win 2 or 3 games in the SEC tournament, and you never want to leave that up to chance. You always want to leave if you're a bubble team, and I've actually had coaches say this before. If you're a bubble team, like, one of the best spots to be in is where the result of the conference tournament only matters from a seeding perspective. It doesn't matter about a do you get in or not perspective, because there's really 2 sides that these kids can do. I mean, one is they can be like, yeah, it's a rallying cry and let's go, and this is our time, and that has happened. NC State a few years ago was a good example, or last year, I think, when they made the Final Four, was a good example. But a lot more times than not, what ends up happening is kids play nervous, kids play scared. You play not to lose. When you play not to lose, you often end up losing. So you want to be in a position where you go into the conference tournament and you're still in regardless of what happened. Oklahoma might not have that at the moment. A team that really doesn't have that at the moment right now is Wake Forest. Ouch. Coming off the heels of a bad loss against NC State. They had also, not too long ago, dropped against Florida State. They had another one last night, losing at home by almost 10 to Virginia. Wake Forest is going to drop out of this tournament right now. They were the last team in coming into to last night, and a few teams that were on other teams that were on the bubble took care of business. Wake Forest, as of this moment, is out. The remaining schedule is Notre Dame, who, God, I hope that they win for their own sake. Georgia Tech, who they should beat, and then at Cameron Indoor. So at Cameron Indoor, probably going to be an L. Notre Dame and Georgia Tech are going to be wins, most likely, but
yeah, probably going to Cameron, probably.
The way they're playing right now, I don't know if I can pick them, because they've lost 3 of their last 4. I don't know if I can pick them to win any of these games. Any loss that's to Notre Dame or Georgia Tech would mean that they probably, basically every loss from this point on that's not to Duke just would add another game that they would have to win in the ACC tournament to be in contention, in my view, depending on what else happens with the other bubble teams. But right now they're out. Bad loss for them. Bad play right now. They are on the downswing. They need to get back right in the worst possible way, and they don't have long to do it. The team that I think is probably going to leapfrog them into the tournament, Sosa like here in this one, would be the Heels. Don't look now. They've won 5 of their last 6. Their only loss was in that period was at Clemson, and the only loss before that was at Duke. Those are respectable. They got thumped in both, but it's still respectable teams to lose to. They get Duke again, but they also get Miami and Virginia Tech. They win those 2. Whatever happens against Duke happens. You win 1 game in the ACC tournament. With the way some of these teams are going, North Carolina could end up sneaking their way in.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not mad at anything you just said. Expectations have just dropped, and all I have to hear about, all I'm worried about now is hearing about how much our fans don't like our head coach. It's actually one of the most annoying.
What's wrong with Davis?
Every people have a problem. People don't fuck with him, man. I'm starting to realize that they really don't fuck with him, and it's kind of crazy because like he's played in the national. They played in national championship since he's been there. You know, the rosters haven't been that good. And now, and also, this is all while a full transition is taking place in the recruiting landscape.
Yep.
And I think that the casual fans are just fucking stupid, that they're not realizing that. What do you want to do? Well, since he's been there, who's been better, him or Shire?
Right.
Because because there are a lot of people on the internet blowing Shire for getting Cooper Flagg to pull up, like he didn't get players to pull up. Like, let's not forget that Tyrese Proctor was supposed to be a lottery pick coming out of fucking high school. He's a junior now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. So what are we really doing? Like, are we talking about competing? Are we talking about development? Like, what the fuck? What is the problem? Because as far as draft capital and players that you're going to put in the league, Duke's had a better host of players that went to the league, and they've underperformed based on if you're talking about North Carolina and them in that 4-year span. So anybody that thinks that Hubert Davis shouldn't have gotten a fucking extension, just shut the fuck up forever and don't talk to me about college hoops.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get the hate for Hubert Davis. I really don't. I don't understand it. I'm sorry. Don't get it at all.
There's like a flawed thought process. Just remember that when every championship that Roy Williams won, the team was skewed talent wise. They were absolutely fucking loaded. Like, he didn't win any championships with teams that weren't extremely talented. Roy never won with an average basketball team. He won with teams that, I mean, you're talking about NBA players, bro. Top to bottom rosters. It wasn't nothing new.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, and that's the difference now with Hubert. Hubert don't have the college guy or the NBA guys to like that high extent. He just doesn't.
Nope.
But what did he do? He kept Baycott, and listen, man, they should have gave Hubert Davis a 10-year deal when he beat Coach K last time around. That should have been enough.
Shut down his career in Cameron.
Like what? Like you're a legend forever for doing that. Respectfully, that's how I look at it. So yeah, that was my little mini North Carolina rant. I mean, making the tournament wouldn't make me extremely happy, but I think we have an opportunity to like you said, make the tournament. And if we get in, you get in. It's just like the same way you look at UConn. Obviously, UConn's won a couple of national championships, but if you see UConn play Duke in this first weekend, you're going to be like, you're going to tune into that. You're going to tune into it. So
yes, you will. Yep.
It's going to be the same way. If North Carolina makes the tournament, they're going to probably, get a team they can beat in the first round, and to get to the second round. It doesn't matter who they play. The name on the front of the jersey is enough to sell the game.
Yep.
So remember, entertainment plays a huge part in how these teams are selected as well. We forget that.
Agreed. Elsewhere on the bubble, gave out SMU. I said they needed a win in the worst way. They got it. It's not going to move the needle very much. They're still out, but they held serve. And at this point, with their schedule and with where they're at, that's all they can do. They can hold serve and hope to win out the rest of the regular season, get a few conference tournament wins and some help. Right now, if you're their coach and you're in their situation, really all you're telling your team to do is just, hey, all we need to do is take this one game at a time. We handle our business and we don't worry about what every other team. All we can control is what we do. And if we control our business and we win games, we'll put ourselves in the best position, and you see what happens. And then the last team I was going to talk about for from a bracketology perspective, Boise. Not only did they get what they needed last night, they just beat the shit out of Utah State. They were absolutely jacked last night. This team is starting to peak. They have a Utah State team that had beat them 5 times in a row. Utah State was never in this game. Boise got up by 8-10 early, and then Utah State pushed it to a 2-possession game a couple times in the early second half, and then Boise just opened the floodgates, winning by 17. This is a team that I think is probably now in the next round of official projections, and even with like NCAA net projections, is probably for sure going to jump into the first 4 out area. They might be right in the middle of that. They have 3 games left in the regular season: Fresno, Air Force, Colorado State. All 3 of those are must wins. They do that, and they get at least 1 win in the Mountain West tournament. And with the way some of these other teams are trending right now, you might be hearing Boise's name on Selection Sunday. This is a team that, after the San Diego State loss, which they lost by almost 20 and only put up 47 points, this is a team that I talked about how some teams use it as a, well, we're fucked, so and play shaky. Some teams, as I mentioned, take the NC State route and just go out and be like, you know what, we're just going to come out and fuck you up. And that's what Boise's doing right now. So on Saturday at Fresno State is their next game. I am hoping that we get a bettable line for this one, because watching this team play last night, and more specifically watching Tyson play, oof, man, this team can play with a number of power conference teams. I don't think they're good enough to beat like the top of the power conferences, but you talk about comparing a Boise to like a Vanderbilt, to a Georgia, to a Texas. The way they're playing right now, I would take Boise. I would not take Boise the way they played before they started going on this run, but this is a team that's ascending right now. And you don't want to be in the way or try to fade a team that's ascending come tournament time. So Boise did what they had to do. They're not in yet, but I do think that they have a path to get in. So Flow Creator, U of A did exactly what you said, down the middle to a down the middle's Utah squad. Yeah, they did. They smacked them. Utah's team is built on getting to the free throw line, and Arizona doesn't foul very much. Utah had to rely on jump shots. That's not their game. That's not what they're built on. It's just not who they are. Not who they are. So real quick, good morning to everybody in the chat. Moneybag, Flow Creator, RJ3, what's up? Adams and Logan. Yep. Tyson and Boise. Yeah, Boise. Man, Boise played well last night. It's not just that they won, it's how they won. And they won in dominating fashion. As I said before, Utah State was never in that game. Boise had that game in control from the jump, and that's what you want when you're looking for a team that's ready to ascend to tournament level. So welcome, everybody. Thank you. Should we get on with it?
Let's get straight into it, man. First game, we're going to go to UNC Wilmington taking on the Camels of Campbell. 7 o'clock start. UNC laying 4 with an over-under of 140.5. We've been on both these teams a couple times this season. So what angle are we taking, and why are we doing it?
Yep. So Campbell is still in the mix right now. They're kind of in the bottom of the mix for a top 4 seed in the Coastal Tournament, which the reason why that matters is because the top 4 teams get a double bye and a free ride to the quarterfinals. Right now, they are a game behind Charleston and William and Mary. I believe they have the tiebreaker over one of those teams, but still need a win. UNC Wilmington will be in the top 4 already, and UNC Wilmington also cannot get the 1 seed because that belongs, humble brag, to this team right here, my Tigers. So their seeding is kind of set. UNC Wilmington did have the game against William and Mary. We were actually on William and Mary, and They blew the game. They blew that game in the last 6 or 7 minutes. But prior to that, they had lost 2 straight to Elon and Hampton because of the wonky scheduling. Because this game was supposed to take place before the Elon game. This game was supposed to take place before one of their other games. So they actually this ended up being their 3rd straight road game in a row. They only have 2 regular season games left and can't really change their seeding a whole lot. You do have a Camels team that does have seeding to play for, and while they've fallen on a little bit of hard times lately, they did lose to Northeastern and to Hampton on the road. And then obviously they lost to Towson, which most everybody has lost to Towson. So I'm going to back Campbell here. I'm going to back Campbell for a few reasons. Number one is Wilmington, their number one asset, as you can see here, is their 3-point shooting, 36.5%, which is first in the conference. And you have a Campbell team that is number one in defending the 3-point shot. That is especially true when they are at home. So allowing 27.4% during conference play. And they're also allowing an absolutely shockingly low 24.7 across all home games for the year. The other thing that you can't do with a UNC Wilmington team is you can't foul. So Wilmington does get to the free throw line a decent amount, but at home, though, Campbell does do a really good job of not fouling. They are top 100 in the country in doing this. They also, in their last 3 games, have only allowed an average of 13.7 free throws per game, which is towards, I think it's a top 25 in all of college basketball. Now, offensively, the thing that's hurt Wilmington because they've gotten into a lot of shootouts. The thing that's hurt Wilmington has been their defense. And it's been especially true in their losses. They are allowing an absolutely ungodly 63% effective field goal percentage over their last 3 games. They allow 53.3% on the road, which is almost sub 300 in college basketball. So you give me all of those things, and you also give me a Campbell team that is number one in the conference here in forcing turnovers, a 19.6% turnover rate. What that means is 1 out of every 5 opponent possessions for Campbell results in them forcing a turnover. Wilmington has had some problems with this. They play a fast game, and sometimes they can be a little bit out of control. On the road, they do carry a 17.6% turnover rate. You can see they're 17.2, which is 10th in the conference here. That 17.6 would be sub 200 in all of college basketball. So I look at this as from a shooting and defensive perspective that I just mentioned, the turnovers. And then you also have a Wilmington team that's pretty much locked into the number 2 seed versus a Campbell team at home that does have a lot to play for. They do have a lot to play for because if they lose another one, they can probably kiss that double bye goodbye. And very few teams have ever won this Coastal or Colonial tournament without getting at least that type of buy. So the official play for this one will be the Camels, the Fighting Camels of Campbell +4. I don't feel as confident that they can win. You can try the money line, a sprinkle if you want, but I personally would just go and take the points here. If it was within 1 possession and we got a decent money line price, I'd probably tell you just to take the money line. But +3.5, +4, somewhere in there, any of that works for the Camels.
Yes, sir. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Hampton Pirates traveling to Drexel to take on the Dragons. We got we have Drexel laying 3.5 at the crib, an over-under of 131.5. One of them games where I think we kind of had conflicting thoughts on. However, I think I'm going to lean on your expertise a little bit more in regards to this matchup, and I'm going to let you tell us what we're betting on and why we're betting on it tonight.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily know if Hampton's going to win this game, but besides Towson, they are the hottest team in the Coastal right now. They've won 5 in a row, and that includes a game that was kind of a wonky scheduling where they had to play. They played on Saturday. They had a game that was supposed to be the preceding Thursday. got rescheduled. So they only had the 1 day and then had to play Stony Brook and ended up just beating the living hell out of them by almost 30. So Hampton is in a position where they're not going to get the top 4 seed, but they are in line for a single bye, which is what happens in the Coastal Tournament to the 5 through 10 seed. So 5 through 10 get a single bye. You have a Drexel team that is probably also going to get a single bye. So, motivationally wise, both of these teams really, it's just because they're right next to each other in the seeding. It's like who gets the 7 seed versus who gets the 8 seed. But Hampton is my choice here, and there's a few reasons why. First of all, is that prior to an impressive win against Charleston, Drexel had lost 5 of their last 7. And one of the reasons why they lost, as you can see right here, is number one, they turned the ball over a ton, a 19.1% turnover rate. That is one of the worst marks in the conference. And especially over the last few games during this kind of shaky streak that they've had, it's been even worse. It's been actually 19.5%. So really 1 out of every 5 possessions that they have ends in a turnover or has ended in a turnover. You couple that with a Hampton team that's forcing 15 turnovers a game in their last 3. That 15 turnovers a game is right up there with the likes of like UCLA and St. John's. Now, granted, that's over their last 3, not over the course of the season, but Hampton is a very guard-oriented team. They pressure a lot. They play at a pretty quick pace and try to force you to play faster than what you're able. Drexel doesn't do that. Drexel's a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical. But the other thing that Drexel doesn't do is they don't get to the free throw line. You can see here the 22.4%. That's because primarily they're shooting 2-point jump shots. So when you have a team like that, the way to get to Hampton is to get to the free throw line. As you can see here, they're dead last in free throws attempted over field goals attempted. They're also dead last in opponent free throws attempted per game. But that doesn't mean a whole lot when you have a team that shoots mid-range jump shots and that shoots threes that doesn't get to the line. That's Hampton's free throws per game have been a lot better recently, 16 over their last 3 compared to 22.5 on the season. They've had several road games, which has been their Achilles heel, allowing almost 30 free throws a game, where they've allowed under 20. So I look at this one, and I think that the 1 possession is probably the right spread. I can see this being a 1 possession game either way. And so you give me that, and I will take Hampton with the plus 3.5. Again, don't know. I don't necessarily know if I like them to win. I'm probably not going to invest anything in the money line, but I think that the plus 3.5 is very bettable. You're on mute, I think.
Yes, sir. Obviously, we're going to get into the one final game. UC San Diego traveling to Northridge. Late start, over under of 150.5. We're on that purgatory line number of 5.5. I have no plays for tonight. Also, I had some Spin talked me off my bet. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, bro. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Me and Spin had conversations prior to the show, and he kind of talked me off my bets. I'm not as confident as y'all think I am. It's a facade. But yeah, why are we betting this UC San Diego game and Cal Northridge game outside of, because you know why? I couldn't tell you anything about either of these basketball teams.
So purgatory line, yes, but UC San Diego is just absolutely steamrolling right now. Not only have they won 9 in a row, but virtually every single one of those games has been by double digits. They also just beat the living hell out of Northridge as one of those wins back on January 25th by 25. So normally you'd side with the dog in the rematch, but I am not standing in front of the UC San Diego train right now. This is a -5.5 spot, and this is one that I actually think that we're getting a little bit of value on the line because it is a rematch and because Northridge has won 7 in a row as well. Now, they've won 7 in a row, but a number of those games were against the bottom part of the Big West. So, like, for example, Cal Fullerton, who's 6-22 for the season. Cal Poly, who's 11-17. Long Beach, that's 7. I mean, basically who's 7-21. The bottom of the conference is who they've gotten this winning streak against. When they've played the top of the conference, with the exception of Irvine, who they got on a bad night without Miles Che, and a few other ones, they haven't done as well. One of the reasons why they don't do as well is because their defense can tend to be kind of all over the place. They foul a lot, as you can see here, 10th in free throws attempted over field goals attempted, and they also have allow even on their home floor 24 free throws a game. Now, you do that against a UC San Diego team that is just absolutely shooting the lights out of the ball right now. They're over their last 3, they're at 59.2% effective field goal percentage. They're 33rd in the country, first in the conference in effective field goal percentage. They run a high efficiency offense, and they have multiple kids who can make the three. You can see here down in their personnel, 41, 38, 35, 36 for rotation players. Bunch of guys that can shoot the three. They have ample bigs down low. The other thing that UC San Diego does not do is they don't turn the ball over. They're number 1 in the Big West in not turning it over, and they have been especially good at not turning it over during this win streak. Their turnover percentage in their last 3 games, 9.4%. That is 5th among every college basketball team in their last 3 games. They have very, very savvy guards who take care of the ball, and they don't waste any time on offense. I have not seen anything that I've watched with Northridge. Not that winning 7 in a row isn't impressive, because it is, but with the opponents that it's been against versus the opponents that not only is UC San Diego beating, they are just beating the hell out of teams. And right now they're projected to get the automatic bid from the Big West. If they win out and get to the conference championship game, there is a scenario. There's actually many scenarios where UCSD could get an at-large bid, and the Big West could be a two-bid team. Normally, for a mid-major conference, I would look at that and be like, yeah, that's like fanfic.
Yeah, they're going to the NIT. It sounds good now, and then
no. I'm telling you, there is a scenario. Irvine can't do it anymore. Irvine can't get an at-large bid anymore. UC San Diego, if they win out, get to the Big West Championship and lose, and other things happen on the bubble, there are worlds where the Big West gets 2 teams in this year, which would actually be a lot of fun for me because I'm a big fan of the Big West. But I personally think that UCSD just runs the table now. This is a team that is peaking and is just absolutely steamrolling teams. So the 4 or 5 times I've watched CSUN this year, haven't been impressed with their defense, haven't been impressed with their ability to not foul in key situations. And you get that against such an effective offense as UCSD. I will take UCSD -5.5.
Yes, sir. And as always, it is a pleasure to have people join in, make some bets. Tomorrow's the last day of Black History Month. If you guys have rocked out with us this month, we return to the airways. We greatly appreciate you guys. We've seen exponential growth on every single platform, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, the whole 9. We couldn't appreciate you more. Obviously, if you aren't familiar, me and Spin, obviously, we have our own VIP, Win the Day VIP if you're not familiar. If you can't get on through the app or through the link, just DM Spin. He'll take care of you. NCAA tournament coming up, getting back into basketball, and obviously baseball, which is Spin's bread and butter, and his, that's how we met. A lot of stuff coming from there. And other than that, I don't got too much. Like I said, I had no plays today. Wanted to make sure that the content is always a mainstay and that we continue to, to just be consistent. Because obviously we win people enough money. It's going to keep coming.
I'm with you. All right. Best of luck if you're tailing anything. Best of luck on all your plays. We will be back with you tomorrow.
Peace.